Bubba Wallace has just shocked NASCAR with an unexpected retirement announcement. This was something most fans weren't expecting, but his retirement might come sooner than you think. And it all has to do with his car and charter. So what's going on? And could Wallace really leave just before the season begins? First off, Wallace has been sending out mixed signals as he just revealed that he is prepared to do huge things when the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season begins in February. Wallace wrote on X that he is determined to have a stronger season after failing to meet expectations in 2023 and 2024. But only weeks ago, he was on the brink of quitting. More on that later. Last night of the offseason. Preseason work starts tomorrow, kicking it off with a fun trip to see the Columbia fam, Wallace wrote. Excited for this season to get underway. Took it upon myself to be better and do better. Got my ass kicked the last 2 seasons, plain and simple. In another post, Wallace added, no shame in saying that. Using it as motivation. I've been rocking the just get by mentality for too long. Focused on my well-being most importantly. Eating right, drinking right. Working out. Tired of looking like the Grinch. Can't help the hair. I love my wife, but she thinks it's a fad and I'm gonna stop next week, Wallace wrote in a follow-up post. So excited to prove her wrong. In fact, I've been at it since the end of the season. The last 3 months have been the best ever. The mentals are at an all-time high. Couldn't be happier. Wallace ended his thread by writing, to my people struggling to get started on a new journey, it's tough as shit, no doubt, but I look at it as there is 24 hours in a day. What's 30 minutes to walk, run, or ride the Peloton? 30 minutes. The self-gratitude after is so worth it. I'll start by saying I believe in you. 2025 is gonna be a grind. Time to roll up the sleeves, grab a glove, and get in the game. Wallace made the playoffs in 2023, but was eliminated in the round of 12. The 31-year-old has had a solid start to the 2024 season, finishing in the top 5 in Daytona and Atlanta. However, Wallace struggled to maintain consistency throughout the season and missed the playoffs. Wallace is in his 5th season with 23XI Racing, co-owned by Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan. Wallace and 23XI agreed to a multi-year contract extension in September. From day one, Bubba has been an integral part of 23XI, the team stated at the time. We're excited to announce that he has signed a multi-year renewal and will continue to play a key role in helping 23XI grow and succeed. However, it wasn't a formality as Wallace was almost out the door at the end of last season. This news came to light as it has been confirmed that Bubba Wallace informed 23XI Racing that if the team failed to supply him with a chartered car by 2025, he will depart. This news is an important aspect of a recent legal victory for 23XI Racing and Front Row Motorsports against NASCAR. A U.S. District Court granted them a preliminary injunction, thereby requiring the sport to enable the sale of car charters from Stewart-Haas Racing to these teams, allowing them to compete in the 2025 season as chartered businesses. The court battle began with a demand for a preliminary injunction, which was initially denied but then granted after 23XI Racing and Front Row Motorsports produced fresh evidence. This convincing evidence includes racing teams' desire to get charters from the now-defunct Stewart-Haas Racing in order to reassure sponsors, who require chartered status as a condition for continued partnership. Bubba Wallace, a 23XI Racing driver, was key to this courtroom story, underscoring the possible difficulties that the team would face if charters were not secured swiftly. Wallace informed his team that if he did not have a chartered car by the 2025 season, he would look into opportunities with other racing teams. This affirmation, which was regarded indicative of imminent harm, had a substantial impact on the court's ruling. 23XI's contract with driver Riley Herbst similarly requires that Herbst be provided with a chartered car, as does Front Row's contract with driver Noah Gragson, the court ruling noted. Other drivers have expressed similarly urgent concerns. Driver Bubba Wallace informed 23XI that he needs to know how it intends to compete immediately so that he can explore seats with other teams. This viewpoint was critical in issuing the injunction, which will prevent further interruption to the team as the 2025 season approaches. The legal obligation for chartered cars is not limited to Bubba Wallace. The requirement for chartered status, as outlined in several driver contracts, demonstrates how crucial it is. The risk of losing valued drivers like Wallace or Tyler Reddick to competing teams has made acquiring charters a top concern for 23XI Racing. Aside from contractual duties, the legal proceedings have been filled with conflict between NASCAR and the teams involved. This case is part of a larger antitrust complaint against NASCAR, in which 23XI Racing and Front Row Motorsports are challenging what they see as monopolistic tactics in NASCAR's charter structure. As the judicial process progresses, additional legal measures such as discovery, depositions, and financial record inspection may be required unless an equitable settlement is reached. The retention of drivers like Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick is critical for 23XI Racing. The team's success, highlighted by Tyler Reddick's performance in reaching the Championship 4 in 2024, demonstrates the substantial advantage that maintaining elite players provides. This is easier to maintain with chartered status. A slew of testimonials and affidavits from key figures in the racing industry, including Joe Custer of Stewart-Haas and Jerry Freese of Front Row, reinforce the case for 23XI Racing and Front Row Motorsports. Correspondence from drivers and sponsors emphasize the importance of charter purchases in completing contractual obligations and ensuring reliable operations. The injunction now allows both teams to function as chartered for the 2025 season, ensuring uninterrupted business operations without administrative delays. Would you have been sad if Wallace left the team, or even the sport? Luckily for 23XI, he's staying, but it does put a lot of strain on co-owner and driver Denny Hamlin as well. He discusses his challenge with juggling his contradictory positions in NASCAR in an episode of the Netflix docuseries NASCAR Full Speed. As a recognized driver for Joe Gibbs Racing's No. 11 car and co-owner of 23XI Racing with NBA legend Michael Jordan, Hamlin is torn between his competitive instincts and business responsibilities. The story progresses through Hamlin's insights into this conflict, notably in the later half of the 2023 regular season. Ty Gibbs, his Joe Gibbs Racing teammate, and Bubba Wallace, his 23XI Racing driver, were both competing for playoff slots, which brought his allegiances to the forefront. Hamlin explained, "It's the first time we've ever had a true conflict, but I just want to make it very clear where my allegiance lies, and that could obviously rub people up the wrong way. But it's the right thing to do if I'm to be a leader of the team that I own." Bubba Wallace acknowledged the clarity brought to the situation, saying, "Now we know where Denny stands on that. It's a tough spot for him, being like, hey, I'm not helping out my team, I'm helping my team." The intricacies of his two jobs are further exacerbated by Joe Gibbs Racing's foundational backing for 23XI Racing. Hamlin explained during an interview with Kenny Wallace in 2024, "I said, guys, I'm going to ask y'all a very serious question. Is there any opportunity for me to own a piece of Joe Gibbs Racing? I'm very interested." And at the time, Joe's getting up there in age, and he's like, "I don't think so." I was like, "I just want to know for sure because I think I'm going to make a move if there's no place for me to have ownership here at JGR. I'd love to carry on the legacy that Joe Gibbs has shown me and how he runs his team. I want to make sure you guys are okay if I do this on my own then." And I said to JGR, "But I'm going to need your help." We pay them a fee, and a hefty fee every single year, to gather all this information that those 400 employees put together. We have roughly 100 at 23XI. In order to have the infrastructure that JGR has, I would have to hire 200, 300 more people. Toyota would have to give us a whole lot more money. And so instead of that, they're happy with their agreement with Joe Gibbs Racing. We're forever grateful for that, but it's double-fold. It helps my team be better, but also creates resources to make my 11 car faster. It seems like Hamlin has it all sorted out for now. But would he have been able to keep everything in check if Wallace left as well? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.